right, here we go.
Oh, episode 3.
Episode 3.
Welcome.
We just did episode 2, and now we're on to 3. Moving so quick here in this relationship.
Welcome back to Two Girls, One Gay. We assume that you've probably watched the past 2 episodes, hopefully.
We assume and we hope. If you haven't, you should go ahead and check them out because it does give, I think, a decent amount of context to who we are and what we're doing and why.
YouTube.com/2girls1gaypod.
Woo, woo. I think we're going to jump right in. We were just having a discussion about Avatar The Last Airbender, which was just released on Netflix as of the 5th of May.
Which makes
2020.
it so much easier to watch.
Instead of, yeah.
You know, other unseemly avenues.
Instead of changing, I don't know, instead of finding it on the internet. But the, yeah, and so we were talking about that relevance, and it's a very amazing story that showcases, I think it showcases a bunch of different characters with backgrounds and a bunch of different cultural appreciation, respect. And we were going into actually the difference with The Legend of Korra.
Yes.
And my problem with The Legend of Korra, especially after rewatching Avatar The Last Airbender, it's much like, okay, so mechanization could be really harmful to our environment, and we need to the environment, make sure we're coexisting with the earth and like respecting the earth. And I feel like that's very much the tone of Avatar The Last Airbender. And Korra, 70 years. I looked at all this really intensely at like 5 o'clock this morning, so I felt like all at the top of my head. But Korra is set 70 years after, and it's so mechanized. Like they have cars and all that, which like, first of all, that didn't develop that quickly in the world. And so it's like not accurate. And I feel like all of the steps to say like, hey, like we're going to respect the earth, we're going to respect nature, we're going to take a step back and respect culture and look at these things from like a natural perspective and respect them, and it's beautiful, was like all erased by saying like, oh, but look at this wonderful mechanized Avatar The Last Airbender.
Okay, to your okay, Nate, to your point, in the spirit season of Korra,
it's season 3, correct?
Yes.
Deep googling.
Spirit world and the main world collide, and nature takes back over many parts of the city and the world. And so they did actually go, hey, we messed up, the earth is sad. And so the spirit world and the natural world came back with a fucking fury.
Right. I was reading through the synopsis of the season and then deeper into like Wan, the first Avatar, and like the backstory between all of it, and it was very interesting that, especially because Korra opened the portal. Spoiler.
I mean, if you haven't watched it,
spoilers.
Hopefully you have watched.
Later? But
more than 4 years.
I don't know. But the Korra had like reopened the spirit world portal, but then closed it.
Yes.
Because she had decided it had been separate, and through like observing Wan's life, had decided that would be the best thing. And I did notice that, and that was interesting to see. I'm just very mad. I didn't watch all of Korra. I stopped after the first season because I was over it by the end of the first season, which I was like,
well, then you didn't get to live your gay little baby dreams
with Asami and Korra.
Korra Sami.
I just think it was grasping at straws. I mean, personally,
watching the last season of Korra, you really see their relationship blossom.
Okay.
Because so again,
she was really hot.
Spoilers.
Not Korra.
Korra got really injured, and so she was
in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah,
for like 6 months.
And she was away from all of her friends, and her and Asami were writing each other back and forth and developed this like intimacy that it wasn't based on like, oh, I think you're really hot. They were very, very close and made an emotional connection.
Spicy.
It was. And that was like a huge thing at the end of the series when they like walked into the sunset together.
They were holding hands. Yeah, I did hear about that, but I don't know, I didn't watch it, but like in my Googling, it was very like, okay.
You should finish watching it. Push through.
All right. I guess. It was just like Oman showed up, and I was like, like this is exhausting for my soul. Like I want my like happy but deep like Uncle Iroh and like those storylines. I also just feel like, to me, Avatar: The Last Airbender is like the top, and it's like, so Korra was just, it felt a few steps short of what Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender was like sacred to me. Yeah. And it held like, I watched like Uncle Iroh's story in Ba Sing Se, and I was like crying, and I was like tearing up as they were taking over Ba Sing Se in the finale, and it's like that, you know, Aang's defeating the Fire Lord. I also was like so mad because I was reading the theory that because Aang died pretty young for an Avatar.
He did.
And it was because of the in the iceberg that he spent. They said that that time in the Avatar state wore on his physical body. And I was so offended. I was like, he did all this and you're gonna kill him early? Like, I felt like offended on his behalf. You know, the cartoon character. And I was so mad. But that's where I didn't connect as much with the character of Korra. And she was so, I think she's part of it was she was infuriating to me, and I was annoyed by her. So because I connect with the characters, I just couldn't watch the show.
Well, that's actually what I really appreciated about Korra. He has this huge responsibility put on him.
He's younger though too than Korra.
He's 11
and she's 16, I think, at the time of the show.
She's 16 and he acts like a 16-year-old.
Fair. I didn't like that time.
Well,
no one. I don't know how many people did.
Yeah, they're also on Nickelodeon.
They are on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
And all the studio meddling, right?
Of course, they had studio meddling as well.
Well, that's why they couldn't be like out as like a lesbian couple. Is like part of the thing is that they didn't want to make that step.
They snuck it by in the very last, and then they could do more of it in.
Remember Mako, the late great Mako? So that episode you were talking about where you cried when.
Oh, when Uncle Iroh's son.
Yeah. Mako died, and that was a
in the war.
So
it was so beautiful. I mean, like I think the art in the series is just amazing, and for me, like architecturally, Korra was there, but it just wasn't as beautiful. Like there's scenes from
you get your ferret.
Yeah,
and a bear dog.
They're cute, but it's not like, you know how like some scenes in like The Last Airbender, like you'd be like, wow, like this is such a beautiful world they've created. I just didn't have that like overwhelming like.
You get that later in the series because they get out of Capital City.
Maybe that was part of it because I think that I connect so much more with her, and so it's like Capital City. I was like, this is what I live like.
No, you get out into the world and you see so much,
right?
Which is amazing. And then there's also like
Republic City, right?
Republic City, yes.
Sorry, I was like, that just came into my mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
And then there's also in the last season you get a war hero that ends up trying to like take over the world.
The Dark Avatar, right? Is that
Navatu? That's not the last season.
Navatu, so I'm thinking that does come up in the third season because it's like trying to. That was like that was the other thing that I was pissed off just reading the synopsis, was that the connection with the former avatars was severed with her resealing and unsealing and meddling, and I just like felt so irritated for that because it also and history, and I feel like that I think that can be problematic in the sense of like sometimes as a present society, I think we lean towards cutting off.
Well, we have such a cancel culture.
Yeah.
And
that empowers that.
If it's, a toxic person, even if it's your own family, cut them off, which, I mean, I understand. Like, don't let toxic people fuck you up. Also, like, it's family. At least be like, yo, you're kind of sucking right now. Could you not?
Yeah. Family's always like a complicated thing.
That's a hard one.
With that. But yeah, it is like, that's where I was like, to me, part of the beauty of the Avatar was the connection to the past.
Oh, that was a good one.
And the appreciation of like, and the respect of the past lives, and the like, all our past has come to this, and like, this is where we respect our elders and everything. And then when Korra, like, reading that and like granted not seeing it and seeing the events, but like just reading the synopsis, I was like, wow, they even like cut that off, and that like hurts. And even that she can't access them in the spirit world, which is like, did she erase the avatars from the like
no. No.
Mike Konieczny, Mike DiMartino and Brian Konieczny question. The creators.
I'm gonna email them and be like, what the hell, dude? Like,
hit them up on Twitter, they'll answer you.
will they?
They're like, bored right now. We were about to start filming a live action, but we can't right now.
Did
they haven't cast it yet.
That's what I heard. I heard that they've had finding actors for Aang.
I'm actually really glad that they haven't cast it yet with the pause in Hollywood, because that kid would age during the pause. We need a kid to be fucking fresh. I'm tired of 16-year-olds playing children. I'm tired of 25-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
It kind of makes me feel creepy.
It's fucking weird.
It sets up. I feel like it sets our society negatively too.
Well, I think that's what a great thing that Marvel did in casting Tom Holland as Spider-Man. They cast a teenager as a teenager because they wanted him to grow into the role.
It was beautiful. And that I even like with the Harry Potter cast, like they cast them as kids, and I feel like for the most part, like they grew very well into their roles.
They did.
And that's nice, and that's good casting.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, casting, and we all know that the last movie was not it.
To be fair about the last Airbender movie, I had never watched the cartoon before I saw the movie.
It's good if you forget the cartoon.
I loved it because I had never seen the cartoon. I went, oh my god, I need to go back and watch the cartoon, and watch the cartoon. I went, the movie's trash.
Is it an anime or cartoon?
I believe technically it's a cartoon in an anime style.
I wasn't sure because I remember hearing Western animation. Okay, because I remember part of it had been done in Japan. That was part of what I was when I was researching this morning. But
I love all the nerdy. It's great.
Me up so late. I did not sleep very well, and then I had this really weird dream. But that's like a whole different thing. Like, but but yeah, it was. I was like, oh, but they're great. The whole thing and the immersion culture and just the Last Airbender and the movie can, I think it's like Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Like, if you haven't read the books, I think the movie's decent. But if you read the books, it's real trash. Like, it's the worst.
Or like the Golden Company.
I haven't seen the movie. I have read the book, and I heard so many bad things about the movie.
But his Dark Materials on HBO does a really good job.
What was the Shadowhunters series by
I watched one episode of the show and I couldn't because I
thought it was okay.
Entire series.
I have two, and that's where I was like, but the movie was worse than the show, which is I think saying a lot. I don't even know if you can find the movie very many places now.
I think it says that.
This out of my brain. Movies that were done well though, If I Stay and Before I, or in like If I Fall, or one of those. If I Stay was definitely a movie that I think was phenomenally done. And it's,
I don't think I've seen it or watched the read the movie.
Read the book.
I'm getting all mixed up.
So the premise of it is that a girl is in this. She's set up for like it's scholarship at Juilliard, and she's in this car accident that's fatal, and she is hanging on to life, but she is like having an out of body experience, and her mom, dad, and then a spoiler is that you later find out her brother have all passed away in a car accident.
Oh shit.
And so her grandparents, and it's like told from her perspective and like flashbacks of her. I'm getting like emotional. It's told from her perspective, flashing back, and then also her boyfriend's perspective, and sometimes I think the doctor's perspective, because she's out of body, so she's seeing what's happening to her body.
Yeah.
And so it's really them trying her boyfriend, her grandparents, and her friends trying to convince her to like hang on to life.
Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's a very strong, like, emotional, powerful story. I won't tell you if she goes or if she doesn't, but
okay.
And then there's another story that I read around the same time. I think it's like If I Fall or Before I Go or something like that. And the premise of that, and I think they made a movie that was pretty good, was like a really stuck up kind of bitchy girl, this fatal accident, but she has the chance to do that last date over again, like multiple times. And I think she does it over 7 times before she gets it right, and she's allowed to move on.
So it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, basically. But with like a really positive, like, don't be an asshole message. And they're both very like deep and well written, and the characters grow and develop, and it's intense, but it's good.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like them. I like books. I like stories that are intense like that.
I love books.
So good.
They're so good. I mean, having
So
a movie in your head.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, that's how I read books, at least. I've talked to people where they're like, I don't understand how you can read a book. And I'm like, well, it's a movie in your head. They go, what? And I feel very sad for those people.
You're like, oh wait, I gotta tell you something. Sarah J. Maas, favorite right now, and I have a tattoo for like her stories. But the way she creates worlds is very immersive, and then her characters are raw and real, and they develop and they change, and then they experience real emotions, and she writes those. I'll have to loan you some books.
Charles DeLint is my all-time favorite writer, and he does a lot of mixed like fantasy books that are also set in real world with specific to the area lore. So we have a lot of Native American lore that he puts in that. He's had some in Ireland. He has a lot of fairy lore in that, and he weaves it so well that you're like, oh wow, are there people like that walking around? Makes you believe it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason I think I really enjoyed the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, was because a lot of it was based around like, oh, but if you look right here in Vegas, then this is what this is. And
Disney Plus is making a Percy Jackson show.
It better not suck. The movie was disappointing. I would like it not to suck.
They're bringing in the author to help
thank God.
showrun.
Like everyone should.
Well, I mean,
The Handmaid's Tale?
Disney Plus is so new that they know if they fuck it up,
we're gonna be quite mad.
We're gonna hear about it, and people are gonna just, hey, I paid for Disney Plus with all of my other shit, and this is my favorite series, and it sucks, and you ruined it.
Yeah, or like they'll tell people don't subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's a time where I think the good thing about like The Handmaid's Tale, we've talked about a lot, but that it's a very successful show, and part of it is because they reference the author, and she is a part of the writing process, and so everything's canon, and everything is, it's very deep, and I think she's been a part of The Handmaid's Tale, to me, like, they're also very good at world building, and
after season 1, they like went, or it was either season 1 or season 2, where they went past what she had written, and so they brought her on and said, if you had continued writing the book or did a sequel, what would you have done, so that going in the same direction. And she was so inspired by working on the show that she ended up actually writing a sequel.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good show. I'm so hungry for the new season.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think it will be season 4, season 5.
It'll be season 4.
Yeah, so I'm so hungry for that, because it's so deep, and it's
immersive.
Good. Yeah, and it's easy to find yourself like you're in Gilead, like you are a fly on the wall, like it's amazing. And that's, I don't know, that's I think what, fortunately for all entertainment's going towards now with recreating books and that sort of thing, is that appreciation and also the consultation of the people who actually created these worlds. And I don't know.
Well, HBO's been really good about that. So they did.
She did it.
Me?
Yeah, you said I don't know. Yeah.
I thought it was. No, yeah. Anyways,
I thought it was. Yeah.
I'm gonna drink. Yeah, there's so many yes.
Oh, a new drink for Two Girls
For Two
Vodka.
Girls.
If you would like to drink along with us, you can. I have a tendency to say, yeah, when I'm returning to a point, and that has been noted. You can either go back and rewatch all of our episodes to enjoy that, or you can follow along with us. And I don't know, yeah, drink, Nate.
You can also add to it, comment on our socials or email us if you have any additions. If
Great shirt, but yeah.
Oh yeah, let's get some here.
We could totally do it.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you see anything that I almost did it, but if you see anything that you recognize that we say a lot and you think that it should be a part of this, please let us know. And you'll be just like me, sitting here thinking, yeah, damn it, I almost said but yeah again.
Right. Drink every Jordan burps into mic.
That's the thing in How I Met Your Mother.
You can look at your camera every time you like, take a drink.
But yeah.
Where's my camera? There?
In How I Met Your Mother, that's a bit, is that at one point they note how many times Robin says and it's a drinking game for college students, so she looks into the camera and she's like, I would do it. I would do it to Nate.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he would take you up on that challenge.
But yeah, back to just slowly killing everyone in here.
Anyways, HBO.
That's one for you.
HBO has been really good at the book adaptations. Big Little Lies.
Yes.
Amazing adaptation. They changed it from Australia into Monterey.
They do Pretty Little Liars.
No, was he done?
No.
What else did HBO? Game of Thrones, obviously. And when they were following, incredible.
I heard that because he hadn't finished the books, that the ending was kind of trash.
He still hasn't finished the books, and
he's not planning on it for a while, though, right?
I think he is just like riding on his own coattails and is like, I'll finish it when I finish. And he might.
He's gonna die.
He's gonna die. Have you seen him? He is
I have.
morbidly obese.
He's gonna die.
He's gonna die before he finishes his shit.
He could just be shitting us all and have the books done.
So frustrating.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Well,
I don't know. I would ride that
else?
coattail for a while, and then the show got it all wrong, and he could make
He's
so
got
much money.
So much money.
Hello, if you have written and you would like to give me money, my Venmo is
right. Oh
Scam
shit. Oh my god. Oh my god.
But yeah, HBO's been doing.
They've been killing
HBO's
it.
been doing great.
But yeah.
Woo.
I have my own camera. So.
the adaptation.
Uh,
Are you gonna camera in just to drink with us for our drinking game?
Yeah, in the top, in the small corner.
Yeah, I see it.
it's just Tiny Nate.
Tiny Nate, if you're following along with our drinking game, you may take a sip now.
Not books, movies with the friggin' Da Vinci Code.
I haven't seen it.
So, it's a movie.
Let there be.
The book is better. And in the movie, the friggin' male protagonist is like, oh, look how brilliant I am. And the girl is who is a professor, by the way, is like, oh my god, you're so smart. And in the book,
No.
she solves half the puzzles. And it's fucking frustrating. Because
Yeah.
I was reading the book and I was like, this is fucking great. I love this book. She's like doing
Oh,
half the
that's
work
smart.
and she's getting like credit for it. And they're working as a team. And
Yeah.
in the he's just like,
Yeah.
aren't I great? And you are.
Have you seen forget, she's a big actress, but she started this organization for women's representation. She gave a speech that was, I think it was the Grammys. I also have to burp, it's coming.
Well,
There we go. And she was like,
Cheers.
oh, like every woman in a film like has that line that's like, but what do we do now? And like her defense is that she was like, what woman in any emergency crisis have you ever heard use that phrase? And she's like, you daughters, like I hear that line all the time. And it is like, I feel like women get so ripped off in film. Even Hermione Granger, I feel like they did a good job with her, but I also feel like she was more, I don't know, like less annoying as the books went on, and then like, but still the same amount of annoying for a while in the movies.
Well,
but they much backstory in the movies.
Also,
though.
and a woman in person knows a lot of things and isn't afraid to say it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, comes across as a know-it-all.
Yeah.
And so
a man is just a man, but a woman is a
right?
know-it-all.
Oh, a man, he's good at learning. A woman, she's a know-it-all, showing off how smart she is.
It's very annoying. It's a very annoying stereotype.
It really is, but it's a trope, and it's even if they're not playing the woman off a know-it-all, people will call her a know-it-all.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if she's just like self-assured and smart and even like
confident,
demure.
Yeah.
Ugh, stuck up bitch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's definitely a thing that I think gets played off a lot in things, is that just putting down women is so popular.
Think about the reaction to Captain Marvel.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, reaction. Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same wave.
The fact that before the movie came out, it had negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes because dudes were just like, the original Captain Marvel was a man. Why do they have to make everything about women? PC shit bullshit.
It just got. I was actually having a really intense argument with my friends, like a really good friend of mine's ex-boyfriend, about how the Captain Marvel, like, men weren't as happy because she wasn't as sexy, because her costume is like, high neck, like to
full coverage,
and she's not seen as like an hourglass curve.
Ba-ba-boom.
Yeah, and they were like, well, it's not accurate. She was a man too. Do you want, like, what do you want? Like, it's accurate costume design, and she's just not as attractive. I was like, Larson is as heck,
gorgeous,
and a bunch of people were like, oh, she's so bitchy. And people say that about Brie Larson because she's very like, I have my accomplishments and I'm not going to be ashamed of them, and I'm going to
and she knows her
back.
worth.
And people are like, she's a bitch. And it's like, great. No, she's not. Like, she's just a confident woman, and she's, I don't know, as a lesbian, she's very hot.
This is what Kevin Feige, read what Kevin Feige had to say about starting out
Finally, Feige mentioned that both films we have coming out in 2020 are directed by women. The aforementioned Eternals is directed by Chloe Zhao, and Black Widow is directed by Kate Shortland. Feige went on to mention that 2 upcoming Disney Plus series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki, are directed by women. Plus, as he continued, we've got 3 other shows that we've announced, but we haven't announced the players. Spoiler alert, 2 out of 3 of them are women.
I like how he's announcing this as like, oh, look at what we're doing. But it's like, you should have been doing this all along.
I don't think it's a wow we've been doing. He's like, yo,
this is happening.
Women are superheroes. They've been superheroes in our comics. It just makes sense that we are making this content.
That's true. I feel like that is something that they've been missing out on. And it's our hard for the society.
She knows a thing or two about Kevin Feige. Don't come after Kevin Feige.
I think, I don't know, it's just, it is like Captain Marvel was very much I thought the movie was great. I thought the backstory was great. I thought the character development was wonderful, just from an analytical point of view. And I mean, as someone who's sexually attracted to women, I did think that she was hot, and I thought, I don't know, it's, to me, a lot of the appeal of superheroes is the power. Like, marketing is to men and women, for men and people of all genders. It's like men, these superheroes, like they're strong and they're powerful and they're tough and they can do everything they want to do, and you can too if you want to be with like this superhero. And that's something that Captain Marvel was.
Yeah.
And it just,
and she didn't have to like flirt to get her way, or
and she wasn't. I think that that's part of the reason that there was trouble as far as marketing, because she wasn't flirty, and it's like
there wasn't a romantic interest in the movie.
No, there's no sex appeal.
No.
to that though, I do think that male superheroes are sexualized as well.
Oh, 100%.
Because
Every single male-driven superhero movie, until they go into their story, it's, hey, here's our superhero and his lady love.
I mean, Captain America is like, he's doing the best for his country, but he's also impressing this
in the first movie,
sassy, powerful.
Later in his story, it's like, well, the love of his life has been dead for a minute.
Like
and before that, she was like way old.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that they put him with her at the end.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was very sweet.
very, very sweet.
But they also didn't diminish her power because she was his love interest.
Oh no, she was so important, fucking badass.
Because a lot of women, I think, like Lois Lane. If you think about Lois Lane or the love interest in Spider-Man, it's like, oh, she is in danger and she needs to be saved. And that's not, the case for most women. And where with Captain America, she was a powerhouse woman.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't just stop being a powerhouse woman the second that he got hot and sexy. Like,
my favorite thing from Captain Marvel is, first of all, the men kept being like, she doesn't have that many emotions and she's not smiling. And the one thing that the main antagonist of the movie kept being like, could emotions. It's like, but what emotions?
Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's definitely it's because it's not the emotions they want.
Yeah, the Jude Law's character, the entire time he's like, control your emotions, and you're going, she's like standing there.
Yeah.
What's your problem?
She had I think anger and like passion were her emotions that she showed at the beginning that she like couldn't control.
Nah.
But it is that she didn't really have but that's I think one of the things that's supposed to set off like warning triggers, that when it's revealed like the true nature of the people that she's been working with, you're supposed to be like, oh, looking back, I see that they were saying things and like, oh, like something was a little off.
I think it was also triggering to most women because every woman has been told, calm down
and stop being so emotional,
calm down. It's like, if you tell me to calm down one more time,
you'll see that
I will not be calm. I'm gonna freak out.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me to calm down one more time.
We addressed that earlier with So I'm a Scorpio. We talked about how there's this stereotype that it's mostly water signs will be like, oh, so Scorpio, Pisces, and there's one more. But they will be like, oh, like,
Cancer.
I'm not angry, but if you is Cancer?
Cancer's a water sign.
But if if you accuse me of being angry, or you're like, stop being angry, and while we're arguing, and then you make me angry, like I will get angry, but then you'll be like, oh, mean, and it's like, okay, but you pushed me to being mean. I'm gonna be mean.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip out.
I don't know. I think that women have been sleeping on an anger for a long time, and it's gonna be very hellish for many people when it finally comes to a T.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's coming soon. I'm not gonna lie. I do think it's coming soon.
Amazing.
I think it's coming. We're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
Be afraid. We're coming. Not to a transition, but we were talking about coming out stories as well, and how we want to address that.
We promised coming out stories.
Would you like to lead while I pour Nate some more wine?
Sure. I will lead because mine is so freaking anticlimactic.
Mine's so complex.
There you go. So my one to start on. So I really came out officially when I was 18 as bisexual to my mom, and it was very much hey mom, I like girls and boys. And she was just like, okay, whatever, and like kept making dinner. And then about 6 months later, I was living in San Francisco, having a family dinner with my sister and my mom, and I like actually mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, that girl's really cute. My mom went, what? And I said that the girl, like, there's like a waitress walking by or something. I was like, she's really cute. And my mom said,
The sup nod.
what?
Like,
Oh, I don't understand. I was like, Mom, I already told you that I'm bi. Do you not remember? And she just, no. Okay, well, thanks. Is that okay? And she was like, I don't care. Bring home whatever you want. Just as long, like, make sure they're not a dick.
that's good. That's a
And
good
I
way to
just-
be.
Thanks, Mom.
A+ parenting advice.
And then just in the Facebook time of when you could finally put, like, your sexual orientation, and they put it on your page immediately as soon as you post it. And so
That was
changed
terrifying.
I changed mine to bi, and I
Everyone's like-
just had like an outpouring of like little
Thumbs
thumbs ups. And that was it. That is my story. It's so boring, but it's also like very sweet. Should happen,
Yeah, that is very sweet. I guess maybe we should have opened with mine because mine's not.
right? Like mine's nice and happy. Mine's nice and
For
happy.
context, my family's from the Midwest and religious. I don't know. It's for me, it's hard because it's like which time? Because I realized when I realized I was gay, I didn't know that was a thing that people did. I don't know, like, or that was a thing.
I mean, background, you were raised
Very religiously. I was in the
yeah.
church. Even until I graduated high school, I was very involved in the church. I ran sound.
Christian church.
Yeah, and
The
I did.
church.
I did worship team. I ran sound. I led kids camps. I was counselor for kids camps. I actually ended up being like an upper counselor because I did it. And so when I found out that you could be gay, it was because I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and she was really mad because a girl in another class kept singing "I Kissed a Girl" by Katy Perry because that's when it came out, like
Woo.
2008, and
Oh, it was Miley Cyrus who kissed her, by the way.
it was Miley Cyrus.
It was Miley Cyrus.
I gotta think about this later.
Sorry.
But I have so many thoughts.
Sorry, I ruined
I feel like
your train of thought.
no, I'm stuck. I'm like, what? Oh. But yeah, I was like, you can do that. You can kiss girls. You can what? And I had this friend. My mom and I called her Kate Butternut Squash at the time because her and I had this inside joke where we would say butternut squash.
Oh my god,
Like
kids
weirdos.
are weird.
And I, like, looking back, was like, I had the hugest crush on her.
Aw.
I had such a huge friggin' crush. She's gay now too, but like,
Woo!
she's out.
That
hi Kate, if you're listening to this, what's good? But like, but yeah, I had a huge crush, and I was like, oh my god, and I knew, and it was like going through 6th grade, I knew, and I was like Googling. I'd like sneak down. I would set an alarm on my clock for 3 a.m. and I'd sneak down to the family computer and I would like Google like, how do you know if you're gay? At like 6th grade. And I knew because I had heard from like church. I really can't think about this right now. But, like,
put
I
it
kissed a
away, Nate.
girl.
Put it away.
Put it in your pants.
Read the article.
She kissed a girl and she liked it, but apparently that girl Katy Perry was singing about smooching back in the day was none other than Miley Cyrus. Who dropped her first new song in a minute. Boo, this has been a while.
Yeah.
And is revving up to release a full-length album soon. Has
Blah,
been
blah,
working on a circuit to support her latest track, and a conversation about the single took a detour to the past, specifically a moment in 2008. Yeah, I'm right. When Perry put out her breakthrough hit, "I Kissed a Girl," as Cyrus revealed the song is about her. Yeah, so I was right. We're actually realizing that next year we'll have been friends for 10 years, she revealed in the on-air chat with radio station WKTU. I think that's the friend that I've known the longest, which is really, really weird. When she came out with "I Kissed a Girl," I was doing the Hannah movie. I heard about it. They said, "Who did you write that about?" And she said, "Me." Perry then invited Cyrus to the 2008 VMAs. A long, lovely friendship and one of the biggest hits of the decades was born.
Wow, that was like a deep buried secret for a while.
I love that. But yeah, 2008, that was when. But I said it twice.
But yeah.
And so, drink. But so I had realized that I was gay in 6th grade, and I was taking all these "Well, how do you know if you're gay?" quizzes. And then in middle school, I started coming out to friends. I had friends that knew that I liked girls, and I was actually in a psych ward.
Holy shit, we came out in the same year.
2008?
Yeah.
Okay. That's terrifying. Yeah, because I was 10. But
I mean, I was 19 in 2008, so like a year later, but still.
Yeah, but
that's fucking funny.
That is really funny. Hey, we're gonna like coming out anniversary. Oh, I love that. So I knew, and I had come out to friends in middle school. I to friends in the church too in middle school. I've really been thinking about this. There was a bunch of us that were queer.
Nice.
A bunch of us who liked girls that were in like the same kind of group, and yeah, so I was in a psych ward my freshman year of high school for being depressed.
Woohoo!
And I had kind of mentioned I don't know if I'd mentioned by then that I was attracted to girls and it got shut down or what had happened. But I knew that I knew. And I got set up with a girl, and she was older than me, and she drove, and we went on a date, and it was to a dance show at my high school. And then she had driven me home and like kissed me goodnight, and I was like floating on butterflies. And I came in, my parents were like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm gay." And I like girls. So it was not very good, and it was also like that I'd snuck around and whatever. And I mean, they did kind of. No, they didn't. I lied. I would tell them with a couple of friends of mine, and we'd all be going on double dates because we were all lesbian.
Hey, girls friends too.
Oh, well, they were my friends. They were just dating, and they were
See?
girls. And
That's
so we went out, and I, was like, actually, we broke up at some point, and then I dated another girl who had the same name as me, and then that's who I lost my virginity to, which is a fun fact. And hey, Rhiannon. What's good? Hey, Rhiannon, how's it going? What's good? I don't miss you.
I
Um,
don't miss you. Never
But
date another
thank you.
Jordan. Oh, I thought about
She
that
went
a
by
lot.
Ren,
Oh, that's better.
and so I was still going by Rhiannon. Eventually, it was like she went by Ren, and I went by Rio. So, whatever. But then I dated, and then I was confused because I married with a woman, and I had come out to my grandparents after I started dating my first girlfriend, and I was like, "Hey, like grandma, like I'm dating a girl," and I was like, I like her a lot, and I like girls. Was essentially like we were doing the dishes. It's like it's a very vivid Michigan memory. And she was like, "Well, the Bible," blah, blah. And I was like, "Grandma, would you come to my wedding if I married a girl?" I think at this point I had also established with my therapist that I was definitely gay. And she was like, "I don't know, we'll see when we get there." To me at like 14. But
That's sad.
so I had come out to her. So at that point I had come out to my parents and my grandparents as gay. And my parents were very mad that I told my grandparents that I was gay. And so I started dating a man. I don't even remember who he was, it's very sad, but that kind of becomes the relevance of men in my life.
Well,
It's like, I know I dated in high school, but they don't matter. Sorry, guys. If you date in high school, I'm sorry. I was so gay. It was depressed. And I'm so sorry, but I'm really not. And so, no regrets. You dated me. You like girls too.
you understand.
You get it. And so my parents were like, "What the heck?" And I was like, "Well, I'm bisexual." And they were like, "That doesn't exist." And I was like, "Bet." And so I dated men, and I like slept with them for like years into college. I was coming into college, and I was still out as bisexual. And then I dated a girl who was very toxic and told me that bisexual girls weren't valid or didn't exist. And
Ooh, love that. To hear it.
I've been very much on like, oh man, I'm really like, I am gay. Like, I'm not bi. It's never going to work out with a guy. Like, I don't like this. Like, and she said that, and I was like, back in the closet. And then my mom, it was such a vivid memory. It was my winter break, my freshman year of college.
Oh.
And I was about to say, like, Mom, I need to tell you something. Like, I don't like men. Like, I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm gay, and
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she said, if I had sent you to a college with more boys, you would be dating a boy right now. Because if it's a and I went right back in the closet, and I didn't come out for months.
Oh, muffin.
But a couple weeks before that, my big sister in my sorority and her roommates we were all sitting around, and they were talking about penises and like length versus girth, and like my face is like doing this thing that I don't think that I can control because it does it every time I talk about this. Is making this face, and she was like, "Little, you just don't like penises," and I was like, "No." And so in June, after I had broken up with my very toxic ex, I called my big and I was like, "Hey, there's something you need to know. I'm a lesbian. I don't like men. I don't want to be with men." And she was like, "I." And I was like, "First of all, thanks, but how?" And she was like, "Because in that conversation that we were having about penises, you were like so done. You were like, I don't want one. I will never want one. I don't take it well." And that's like how. And at some point, I think during college, it was right before I left for Girl Scout the first time I worked, because it was a very like inflammatory thing. And I was like, "Mom, Dad, I like girls. It's never going to change. Goodbye. I'm living in San Diego and I will not be able to talk to you." And like, poof, gone. And I was caught with no contact for 3 months. And then I came and I came back on a Saturday. I moved into my dorm on a Sunday. And I have not been back home since. And that's me coming out. But other than that, Below Her Mouth, it's on Netflix, and it's a Canadian all-women cast and crew. And a good point that made within the film is the character Dallas is asked for her coming out story. And she says, which one? And her argument is it's that never stops, because it is a constant coming out.
Really is. Even
I just came out to a stranger on the river that we all met.
Right? I feel like I am constantly coming out to people because I am married to a man.
Yeah.
And so whenever I meet someone new, it's like, oh, having a conversation. I also like ladies, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, what? But you're
married to a man.
But my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not hard to understand. Also, it's nobody's fucking business who you sleep with unless you are sleeping with that person.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of people think bisexual and pansexual people, when they choose like their partner, like I'm getting married, they choose a side. And that's not accurate. Like that doesn't change who you are as a person. And it's very unhealthy, straight, gay, pan, bi, whatever, that your partner should define you, because you are who you are outside of your relationship.
Being married to my husband does not change my sexuality.
No.
My relationship status, it changes my availability for
exactly,
but it does not change who I am attracted to.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, and that's healthy. That's valid. And yeah, it's one of those things too that a lot of times people will say, like, if you're at Pride and you're bi and you have a partner of the opposite gender, like, you're not welcome. And I think that that's super harmful to the people and to our community, because it's saying that you can, and it's also harmful to everyone on that spectrum, because it's saying you can choose.
I actually saw that going around a lot last year for Pride. Is I was saying, hey, if you have chosen a partner that means your passing is heterosexual, Pride is not for you. And
that's
I'm like,
unfair.
That's fucked up. And it was also Nate's first Pride. And
I'm sorry, that was your first
Pride. Mean, no, Pride was great. It was, and I wasn't sharing a lot of the things with him either.
That's
good. Like,
Well, you never know someone's story too. Like a friend of mine is a trans male, and his thing was that they got a lot of him and his girlfriend had gotten a lot of hate at Pride. It was like I'm transgender. Like I've gone through so many trials and I've gone through so many hardships in life, and look straight and I'm not even welcomed by my own community, and that's not fair, and it's also not fair to my partner. And so it is like you can't always. I think a lot of people ride on the assumption that they can tell, and it's not like we don't have it tattooed on our forehead like I am pansexual, I am bisexual, I am transgender.
Also, the term passing is just so freaking harmful. It's like your passing is what? It's like you're a person. Human. And as we've said multiple times, sexuality is a spectrum, and gender is also a spectrum.
Exactly.
And so passing as what? Passing as the standard, passing as the norm.
Which is also harmful.
So harmful. Like you
shouldn't
shouldn't
the norm or the standard.
have to feel like you should look like anything besides how you look.
Yeah. Like exist how you feel comfortable and in your skin.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, and
we can be aunties.
We will. We will. Yay. That's my goal. I'm so excited. I actually read something on the internet recently, and it was like, oh, if you can't think of who your gay cousin is, you are the gay cousin. And I was like, that's me. I'm the cousin.
I'm the gay cousin. My sister's cousin. Cousin is also the gay cousin.
You have just a bunch of gays.
We have so many gays. Well,
I think I'm the only one.
Our grandma, we're pretty sure, was an in the closet lesbian because she hated men. She fucking, and she had a special lady friend when my mom was growing up.
Oh, and she was a lesbian.
Yeah, they would send the kids into the backyard to play, and then one day, Mom, where's your friend? She's not welcome here anymore. Oh, they broke up.
Yeah. They were special lady friends. There's a documentary on Netflix right now that's about two lesbian women who have been in a relationship for some insane amount of time, like 60-something years.
Woof.
And they were in the closet for most of it. Like they didn't tell their families that they were in a relationship with each other, and they were always like, "Oh, that's their friends or whatever,
roommates."
And then they came out. I don't know if they're still alive or not, but somehow it was like, oh, they're in a relationship, and I don't know.
Aww.
Old gay couples, gay, lesbian, transgender, they make me not whatever like disregard, but whatever like anything make me so hopeful.
Whatever how you feel.
Yeah, it makes me really hopeful for the future.
So sweet.
Because I think it's been so hidden, and you see old straight people all the time, and so seeing old queer couples makes me really like happy and hopeful for like my future. And I don't know, when I was a youth ambassador for Pride, and when like older lesbian couples would come up and be like, "Oh, thank you," I'd be like crying. I'd be like, "Thank you."
Aww.
Because it is like it's something that I never saw for myself, and that's an important thing about representation.
Yes.
It's because if you don't see it, you don't know that it's possible, and I think that's a big contributor to depression, because if you can't visualize your future, like where are you going?
If you're ever sad and you think that there is no future, watch The Birdcage. Look at these, like, I know Robin Williams wasn't gay, but Nathan Lane.
All right, yeah. Yeah, or the documentary of old lesbians on Netflix.
Yes, that one too.
Because it is. I mean, it hasn't been documented, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Oh, they're everywhere, and it's great. I think
we're your neighbors.
I think it's County Pride, I saw a couple that was actually wearing like t-shirts together that were like together for 32 years or something like that.
Them.
Yeah. And they were both so butch and they were so cute. Like wearing Jordans and
there was some
ugly t-shirts.
Yeah, they're so cute.
With gray hair, and it's like, you guys are so cute.
There were people that I met that made me cry.
Oh, so yeah. We're like clapping at them and being
wholesome.
like, yeah.
Yeah, you've been together 32 years. That's heckin' right.
Get it.
Get that domestic partnership. That's all we had. I mean, yeah, it's amazing to see that, and especially considering what people at that age have been through and the things they've seen, the stories they have.
They live in Sonoma County now. That means they probably were transplants from San Francisco.
The golden age in the Castro.
Yeah, Castro or Haight-Ashbury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably moved up and we're like, we're going to move to Forestville or Guerneville.
We're going to be hippy-dippy lesbians in the woods, and that's how we're going to live our life. I don't know why they're from the South.
I mean, they might be.
They totally could be.
They totally could be.
Yeah. Oh, something that showed me is the lack of, like, lesbian bars in the Castro, because I so doped out by being 21 and being able, I'm 22, but being 21 and being able to go to the gay bars in the Castro, and it's all like gay men, and then it's all straight women at the gay men bars because the gay men don't try to hit on them. Hello, Sanka. And it made me so mad that I feel like in a way, like, female loving female, women loving women isn't. I mean, it's been problematic.
You see it a lot more in the kink community and at the kink bars.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely, but
the fetishizing. Not really, but also
really.
That is where people go. I feel like for a lot of people it's a safer space.
My problem is the lack of gay bars in Sonoma County.
Sonoma County. If you
Get
are
it together,
a bar owner, have a queer night, have something.
I mean, all we have is Brew. And that's not a bar.
They close at 8.
It's not a bar.
Except for drag season. Yeah.
And it's such an insular community. If you go in there and they don't know you, it's like, oh, hello.
I actually did go there. So I had this bucket list. It was 50 things that I wanted to do while I was single. I didn't accomplish all of them. Before I got back into a relationship, I need to revisit this list. And one of them was like to go to a bar or something like Brew alone. And I did. And I actually met a really nice woman who's married to a guy who is a barista?
Barista?
At Brew. And
yeah, I guess that would be a barista.
It was a very adventurous night.
Oh.
That's a whole story. That's an I'm 22 and single and
I can
living
do what
my
I
life
want.
story. Okay, so I went to this for drag night for RuPaul's Drag Race. They do a drag every Friday when RuPaul they show it, and then it's fun. They mute the commercials and they have a discussion with the people. It's really fun. And I'd gone in there because I was like, what do I have to do? And we just like kind of hit it off. She's very nice. I should probably hit her up. She's really cool. And she, anyway, that was a very different thought connection. I found her on Facebook and recognized her slightly, but not all the way. And now I know who it is. But so I had met her and we were talking and we were really connecting, and her husband poured brew. Mm-hmm. And so then a couple of came in, they all were like, hey, let's all play Jenga. We played Jenga, and they were like, hey, have you guys ever been to the porn bar in San And we were like, no.
What?
And they were like, do you know? And so we went. And we walked to the porn bar, and it was me, it was her, who bisexual, she's married to this guy, and 3 single lesbians. So 4 single lesbians and a married woman. And we went to this porn bar.
That sounds familiar.
I got drunk, and then we waddled to this other place and ate, and it was just a whole night of we're waddling here, then we're there. Everyone's drunk. We're kind of tripping around. What's happening? I don't know. I think I kissed someone at some point, and it's been it's been a year now, and and yeah, it was just a crazy night where it's I feel like I said yes to everything. I was like, yes, I'm gonna go alone. I'm gonna hang out with this person. I'm gonna talk to this person. I'm gonna make friends. Which can be a very dangerous thing for someone to do. But I'm gonna make these friends with these lesbians. Yes, I'm gonna go with you to a porn bar. Yes, I'm gonna keep going with you to these bars. And yes, I'm gonna get home. It was an incredible night, and I
totally Nate's thing. He loves to adopt people.
Oh yeah,
and then it's crazy nights.
I feel like if we hadn't met through podcasts, we would have met. I would have been out somewhere, and Nate would have been like, "You look lonely. Hang out with us." And I would have been, and Jordan would have been like, "It's okay." And then I would have been like, "All right."
Since he has such a good eye for faces, he would have been like, "Honey, that's the gay Miss Sonoma County. We're gonna make friends with her right now."
Yeah, I mean, that always made me feel uncomfortable at bars. People would come up and be like, "Are you missing him again?" I'd be like, "I'm so drunk right now that the fact that you recognized me is problematic." And so that's only happened to me like 3 times, but out of like the few times that I've. But the Let's Go Around night and the queer like say yes night it was one of the best nights.
So for your birthday coming
For my
up,
birthday.
let's just have a say yes birthday.
A say yes.
Say yes.
That can get you into trouble.
My birthday, for context, my birthday's on Halloween, and I feel like that could get you in so much trouble.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean, the fun thing about having a birthday on Halloween is that a lot of people are like, "It's my birthday," and they're lying, but I'm not, and it's on my ID.
And then 2 weeks later, it's my birthday.
We could have so much fun. Yeah. I don't know.
23 and 31.
Where I was going before my night shenanigans. Go in the.
Oh, right. It's not as great.
But yeah, we just have brew.
Yeah.
There's. I do think that the queer community in Sonoma County tends to be like 35 and up.
Yeah, they're older.
So I do understand that there are no nightlife for the younger queer community, but I do think that it's essential. But it's also expensive here, and it's hard to exist as a young person here.
See.
So that's my thoughts on it.
Definitely. I feel the same way. I mean, those are from Sacramento, and so moving from Sacramento to here, because Sacramento has like a gay corner.
They do, and downtown Sac there's like
great.
Faces and
Faces and Badlands and the Depot.
There's one down the street from them too.
Yeah,
it's like a block away, and it's in a little
the
tiny
dive
house.
Bar.
Yeah. That's the first place.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's a good place to start.
Their drinks are so strong.
I was terrified.
Oh,
I was like, "Ooh, adult life."
That was always one of my words, and I can't remember the name.
No, me neither.
But I remember
ordering.
I remember ordering a Greyhound there, and it was vodka with ice and a splash of grapefruit, and I was like, "This is
that's what that is.
This is I'm paying $3 for this. This is
Sacramento's
fucking great."
Also cheaper because that would be $12 here, and they would be like half grape juice and a quarter
depends on
vodka.
where you go. I mean, the porn bar.
The porn bar does serve strong drinks for very cheap.
Yep. You gotta know where to go.
For context, the porn that they show, it's like 5 seconds of porn and 30 seconds of advertisements. And it's all 50s porn.
70s?
70s?
70s.
Yeah. So it looked like 50s advertisements.
Oh, yeah, the 50s advertisements for sure, but it's like 70s porn. And they have started, or at least in the past like 6 months or a year, they started cutting in more modern porn, and so you're like,
interesting.
Whoa, that's some anal gaping, and I'm gonna have a conversation.
I'm having a cocktail in this waterbed, and you are putting.
Sit on the waterbed. That's so gross. They can't sanitize.
No. I have to go take a very hot shower. We have to end this podcast early.
It's been a year. I think you wiped it off.
Has it been a year? Okay, yeah. It's probably been about a year.
Yeah. On the beds, it's so fucking gross. I see people sit on the beds, and I'm like,
but do people actually do there?
I don't think that they can't get away with that, but we've been told by the bartender, shout out Justin, we love you and miss you.
Hi Justin. I did not meet you.
He's an awesome ginger.
I didn't meet him, but yeah. We should go. We should go to the porn bar.
Yeah,
we should have a podcast at the porn bar.
But he's said every night a cleaning crew comes through at like 4 a.m. and Lysols everything, but the one thing that they can't Lysol are the waterbeds.
That's the most terrifying thing that I've ever
heard. And so
heard.
even if people aren't doing the deed, there's still like people rolling around on there being all drunk and shit.
Yeah, and people do weird things drunk.
In the age of the road, I don't really trust surfaces you can't Lysol. No. Or at least like wash on a very high heat.
Yes, and you can't watch a mattress. Sorry, dog licking you.
Tonka's licking my toes.
He does that. He's got a tongue.
That's my job.
Yeah, a thing in this town is that there's not a lot of queer alliance, and
Yeah.
that also makes it hard to date
Honestly,
as a
like,
queer youth.
the porn bar is where I meet most of the queer people because they're like, we're
Meh.
used to being like weird and sexual, and so here because no one is comfortable here.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I don't know how to date in this county.
I mean,
As a youth.
I didn't really date in the county either. I had my fun, but honestly, I like
I've been
shipped talent from out of town to
That
come
makes
visit
sense.
me.
That's a good idea. Well, I've been hit on more as a lesbian in Sacramento than I have a lesbian in Sonoma County.
Oh, 100%.
Which is accepts as mistake, but that's just also creepy. Like, I'm doing stuff, man. Like, if you like politely like think you can't have your number, like I might be like, yeah, but no.
no.
But I've been hit on more in Sacramento, and I do think it's hard to. I think it's hard to date now, especially graduating college.
Oh my god.
Oh, I don't even.
Shockingly mediocre. I would give it 0 stars if I could. I
Is
was and still am shocked, appalled, and disgusted. I give it 6 months and long term for this place. Here. Worst bar I've ever been to. It's the embodiment of trash with a capital T. This
Oh
place
my
is
God.
gross and weird. I hate it. I felt dirty, left, never coming back.
Oh my God.
There's one in Sacramento.
Wait, is this the porn bar?
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, it's in San Francisco and Sacramento. Damn.
Okay, I just texted my friend I went to the divey bar in Sacramento with because I need to know the name.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I do.
I just
haven't
had
been
it
to
in my
this
head
place.
and it left again.
Well, so when I went, I got a Jack and Coke. I was like, why did that take me so long?
And
to
it
find
tastes
something?
like Jack Daniels.
Well, I got a double, and that was my
Oh, because they're all double.
all doubles, and then he added more. I was like, that's a quad.
That's so
Um,
much.
No, the bar.
No.
And yes, but podcast. My friend was like, this place, and I was like, no.
No, it's
we,
funny.
We ate dinner here, and he was like, did you get my snap? And I was like, yes, but I'm busy. I'm not busy enough.
My friend from high school, Edward, he's always going there. So I'm like, did he post that he was there? I don't know, like 2 months ago. But Edward's great. We did musical theater together.
I enjoy fellow, like, if you've been out since a young age, because I feel like a lot. Oh, the Depot! It was the Depot!
Oh, see, that's what I was talking about.
The Depot was definitely the one I was talking about.
The Depot is great. The Depot's the one with all of the
It's a little
screens
house.
everywhere. Well, the Depot's connected to Badlands. It's right next to Badlands and across the street from Faces.
No, then it's not that one. I'm
like,
so mad.
I know these so well.
I'm like in the little house.
God damn it, this is not good.
I actually
That
made
we're doing
I
right now.
actually made really good friends with some older gay men because we had gone to the Depot, and my friend was trying if he could go through the back door of Badlands, because where they connect, not but in
in the
back
back,
of the
and
bar.
there's a little courtyard.
Yeah, there's a little courtyard, and it's kind of an outdoor bar area, and they have a bar, and these
Mhm.
older gay men, hair older, I feel confident saying this, he was like trying to go through the door and see if he could go in, and so I was talking to them because I was like, yeah, whenever he's going through there, and then they were like, oh honey, like, yeah, we understand, you can hang out with us. And they were such nice, not like in a creepy way, but like in
Yeah.
a gay man, honey. And we just had like a nice short conversation. They were like, well, you're so pretty, just like, you're just a wonderful spirit. And he came back and he was like, yeah, we can't go in there. And we were all like, we know. Like me and the two gay men.
That's
It
great.
was amazing.
That's great.
I love gay bar people sometimes, and I don't know. I a lot of times I feel like I've met some really great people drunk.
I remember going to Badlands with a friend of mine, Mark, again from high school.
Yeah.
He actually came in high school, which was so sweet because I thought I had a crush on him, but I realized it was just nice to me. And
Oh. No.
so I think I like you. It was a total pussy move. It was the last day of school of my junior year. I think I like you, and he just
Was like,
took out
"I'm
his
gay."
notepad and wrote "I'm gay" and turned it to me, and I was like, "You're gay? That's great!" And he was like, "Oh God, I thought you were gonna judge me," and I was like, "No, I'm so happy
No
for
one
you."
should. I feel like that's no one should judge anyone for being gay, especially if you're hitting
Yeah.
on them and they're like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm gay." The name of the place was the Mercantile.
Merc.
Yes, the Merc. Oh my god. And so after a long conversation with my friend, kind of, I would.
Thank God.
Do you feel like a sense of relief?
I do.
Mm.
It feels good to know the name, the Merc.
I can
Yes.
die happy.
It's wonderful.
The Mercantile. Shout out to Mercantile because the Mercantile gave me a very strong. But that was like
They give everyone really strong drinks, and they're the best. Like
they're very fun.
it's a dive bar, but it's not creepy or dirty.
No, and that's very.
But it's
key.
definitely a dive.
And I lost at pool. Venerable, a watering hole with dive, offering happy hours, a pool table, an outdoor patio. Yes.
Yes.
Using the pool table that you into a couple of very angry gay men who will be very good at pool, and they'll be like, "It's just a game," but they competitive pool and they will kick your ass, and you'll be very angry about it.
That's because they're there all the time.
Not that I'm saying no. They played competitive pool.
Wonderful.
One of them actually competed in pool.
Wonderful.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you totally can. And in
If you're the
Oakland,
gay guys from pool, I'm
yeah.
still bitter.
We have a friend in Oakland that is part of 2 local pool leagues.
Oh my god. No.
Mhm.
I need to join the league. Good. So I can go back to the Merc and take my vengeance.
I wonder if Corner Pocket is still a thing. Sites.
I don't know.
It was when I was growing up.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And
There's so many bars that I grew up around, and I grew up in the suburbs, which is fucking
Right.
weird. So, what
Whoa.
Sacramento's weird about that is
the subs are pretty weird.
they love their strip malls, and there will be like a tattoo shop, a dive bar, CVS.
That's exactly. Or you'll just be driving around and you're like house, dive bar, house, and you're like,
You're like, ooh, Thai food.
good. Those are the best places too. But yeah, I feel like I've said it more times too, and we're just not recognizing it.
That was so aggressive.
I'm not gonna get any more of this one.
Yeah,
I'm drinking fast enough.
you don't have to give him the rest of it. We have a bottle of red we can open.
Oh, fun.
Petit Verdot.
I'm like glances at time.
Glance.
But the places, and there's like places in Folsom that are actually, I think Rockland doesn't really have any. Rose gets stabbed, and then Lincoln is just so slow.
Yeah.
Loomis is it's good for karaoke. Full karaoke bars that are good. And
Go
then
on.
do have to drink for that too. And then Folsom has like a couple. It has there's 2 that are connected, 2 bars that are connected in Folsom, and then there's like one across the street, and they're all pretty. The is high. I think it's $12 for the joint bar and $12 for the other one. It actually made me mad because I'm used to being in a college town where there is no cover, because we all get trashed anyway, and they're making so much money. I think it might. I don't know if it's just on Thursdays, but
I know Petaluma, they all do covers on the weekends.
do they?
Yes.
On Fridays?
Mm-hmm. Maybe you just always pay for you.
No, I think the only time I've gone, when I turned 21, I went to Petaluma bars. And it
But
was
the
on, like,
Katati
it was on a
Crawl,
Wednesday.
there's no
Yeah.
covers in the Katati
Don't
Crawl.
come find me at the Katati Crawl. I'm really not there very often. I'm very busy.
And there's no covers in Santa Rosa unless it's a holiday or live music.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have covers. But I was very surprised by Folsom having pretty high covers.
Those are steep.
Drinks are kind of cheap, honestly. I don't know, but I've been to the Folsom bars a couple times now. With I went with my big sister for her birthday, and we kind of bar hopped, and I actually ran into, unfortunately, it was later weeks in December, you know, when I got to go home, but they're home.
Yeah.
And so I actually ran into a few people I knew from high school and college.
Oh, fun.
Which is rip. And then I went again with some friends who live in the area, and we went bar hopping, and we're all gay, so that was fun. And it was just fun to kind of dance with some fun gay people.
Yeah.
Fun lesbians. It was like, oh, I have a fun lesbian friend group.
Oh, wow.
Cries and queer. Like, and that's been fun. It is. I do think it's surprising though that Sacramento has a better queer scene at this point than
So
San
much
Francisco.
better.
Yeah. It makes me sad. I know. Well, I in some ways I guess I'm happy that I'm moving back because now I can go to the bar.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
Oh, well, you're an adult. As long as you're not
They
drinking
have
and driving.
They have accepted that. I think that I've gone to parties. Oh, when I went with my queer friends to bars, I was driving. And so when I was dropped off, I was very much stumbling in the door because I didn't pay for any of my drinks that night.
Wonderful.
Yes. A shout out to Megan and Jackie. And also the weird gay guy at the bar. And I don't remember your name. It's not relevant to me. But I didn't. And so I was like tripping in the door, and they're like, and I think my mom had like pokes her head out to be like, it's you. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, do you lock the door? I was like, yeah, I'm going to bed. She was like, okay. And that was it. I was like, oh, you accepted that I'm 22 years old. And I'm living my young 20s life.
I think since I was living with my mom when I was 22, when I would come home, if I came home after
key.
Partying, because normally I would stay at friend's house or I would stay in my van.
Me too.
Yep. If I came home after partying, I would always text my mom on the way, so she
had a heads
so
up
she was like,
almost.
oh, that's why the front door is opening.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
because I was like, I don't want to be bothered. I just want to go down the hall to my room,
Crash on the bed, wake up in the morning, and be like, ugh.
I didn't get that many hangovers when I was 20, but when I got them, they were ferocious.
Yeah.
So bad.
Excellent. So I feel better about my experience.
Well, I mean, hangover, just go to Oscar's, get a burrito, and
I
it's
don't
so
like
good.
burritos.
You don't like burritos?
I don't. That's like the
What?
failed California in me is that
They have really good quesadillas too.
Oh, okay. I can do that. I like quesadillas. Yeah, that is a topic that we meant to hit, is that I am moving back to Sacramento with the situation.
Ooh.
And I was
and it's summer. So.
Yeah, and it's going to save me money. I was supposed to graduate college, and I got accepted into a program at Sid College.
Woo.
That extends me for a year, which I think puts me in a better financial position to graduate. But as part of the CSU system announcing that all fall classes will be online, I will be living with my parental units, and then if it's a partial in-class thing because we're art majors and we have to, then I will be commuting. And I will also be, coming up here to
doing the podcast and crashing on our lovely couch.
No, you can take the bed off.
No, that's so sweet.
And probably would be smart to invest in a blow up mattress. We already have the pump.
Hey, I think I have one.
There you go. You can just pack it away.
Hi,
Put
Dad.
it in this area.
I don't want to be here. I'm gonna go stay. Sure.
Right? You can have the
Yeah.
nook, the TV nook.
Yeah, I think one of my little sisters has an apartment, and then my other one is an RA. Already been like, hey, I might crash with you on occasion, especially I think around like finals or midterms or tests. I might be like, "Hi,
Yeah.
need to be near Sonoma
Couch
State University." Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I don't
And
know.
there's some pretty cheap Airbnbs around here
Yeah,
too. If you're like, I want a bed.
for one night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just things will work out, you know?
Yeah.
It's following a passion and that's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're so excited.
I am so excited.
Yay.
We discussed that I found a PhD program.
Oh my god,
that
yeah.
I'm super passionate for. Went from I'm gonna get my BFA. Yeah, I'll get my master's after to I'm gonna get a PhD. And like I hope to God that I get to that program.
That'd be
But-
dope.
Yeah, I could be like Dr. Jones.
Can we call
uh,
you Indiana?
Yeah, you can.
Indiana.
Only if you come to my PhD graduation and you hold up signs that are like Indiana.
Yeah.
I
Get
love
it, Dr. Jones.
that.
Paint a
Yes.
boulder on it.
That's what I want. That's all that I
I'll
want.
just like chuck a styrofoam boulder at you as you're walking. Duck it, bitch.
Hits me in the head. I'm like, ah.
Oh
Do, 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 do.
no.
Grab it at the last second.
Oh my god.
Dr. Jones, would you like
we'll
to say
get
anything?
kicked out because we'll bring like an old school boombox and just start blasting the Indiana
do,
Jones theme song.
They're like, Dr. Rhiannon Jones. They're like, do, 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 from the audience. But, and then we'll enlist someone else to take a video.
As we're being escorted out.
But you have to keep it going while you're being asked.
Oh. I will run.
That's so golden. So it's a plan now because this needs to happen.
Yes.
So my plan is to
you-
get my PhD. And-
Specifically because
because my friends Jordan and Nate are to invest in an old school boombox to play the Indiana Jones theme and throw a styrofoam boulder at me while I'm graduating.
Dr.
It'd be beautiful.
Or is it-
Dr.
or like
Jones.
A beach ball. How
Yeah.
about
Oh, I
beach
like
ball?
that. A beach ball painted
Yeah.
yes,
Beautiful.
like a boulder.
Right, that's okay.
And you need to wear the hat
Yeah.
and have a whip.
There we go. But that's so moving home soon. I can save money for my PhD.
There you go.
Buy a
Yeah.
badass whip.
And a hat,
yeah.
an Indiana Jones hat.
Also, I said, but yeah, a second ago, everybody drink.
But yeah,
Fine.
Yeah, that's right. That was also a creepy pseudosexual.
that
one.
was. I was like, you just turned into a dominatrix. Right? Yeah, that's right.
That would be a good. One.
Hey, you don't have to
the-
touch anyone.
Oh my god, I have a new one. And so moving back into
Anyways.
so being with my parents is also because we were talking about my dating life a second ago has me very concerned about how I'm going to date people because it's not like I can be like, come back to my parents' house.
Right.
Let's have a sassy time.
I have a separate entrance.
If I
Get the
I could
separate
go away with
entrance.
that, and I just have to be like, you have to be up before, you have to be gone before 6 a.m. when my dad.
Oh
wakes
my
up.
god, that is so up in your 20s though. It's like,
You have to
ooh,
be before.
leave
Somehow.
before light.
I do it now.
I used to do it all the time.
I don't do a walk of shame. That's been a personal thing of mine. I do a walk of fame. So I slept with
Wonderful.
someone. I was out at a bar, and I went home with someone, and I was wearing a cat. So I was wearing a one piece. I was wearing a one piece off the shoulder like cat suit, and then fishnet tights and thigh high. Go get Plan B, and
Ooh.
woo woo, it is not a shameful thing.
No,
And so
there's a reason they sell it at Target.
he was like, "Oh, do you want to borrow some clothes to like go?" And I was like, because he had said the night before, like he was like, "Oh, I don't know if this condom broke because it's wet on the outside," and that was like why I have slept with men on premise, like for context. So he was like, "Oh, like I don't know, like I'll buy you Plan B tomorrow," and I was like, "Fine." And so I was really pissed, and I was like, "Fine," and so we. And he's like, do you want to borrow like, and I was like, no. And I put on my fishnets. I put on my one piece suit and my thigh high boots. And in broad daylight, I mean, it was like 11 a.m.
Just an animated short story.
I'll do it just for this one.
Get on Corel Painter and just go.
I mean, I would do it, and then I walked out.
Like, get a fan to animate that.
I mean, I like strutted out. He lived on the second floor of an apartment building, and down the way, down the stairs, and to my car, drove us to CVS. He went in, bought the Plan P, and took him home, and we drove home wearing a cat suit.
That's wonderful.
I was like, oh my god. I think I was still wearing like my collar from the night before because I had like a Velcro. It was like last minute, so I had stopped by like it was the end of the October month. The good costumes were gone, so I just bought you can buy like an ear, a tail, and a Velcro collar. That's what I was wearing, so I think I still had my Velcro collar. It's just like jingling walking down the halls. I was very much like, this is not a walk of shame. A 22-year-old woman. I can fuck a guy and leave the next day if I want. And that's...
Oh my god. I think one of my best after hookup outfits was hanging out at this guy's house, partying with all my friends, and I was like, he's a friend. He's also very cute, and I'm very drunk. I'm gonna make out with this guy. Too big. I was like, absolutely not.
Ew.
So I'm gonna just like roll over and pretend that I'm asleep. He fell asleep, and it was pitch black in his room, and I was fully nude. And so I was like, oh, time to find my clothes.
Be fully nude here.
And I could not find the dress I was wearing.
No.
But he was a taller guy, and so I found his black t-shirt. So I wore it.
T-shirt dresses are a thing now. You could totally
right
that off.
And I found my belt that I was wearing today.
And then went back to
No. My clothes on, grabbed my shit, left. And it was done. I went, oh cool, it's like 30, Starbucks is open, I need a fucking coffee. And so I stopped at Starbucks, pulled out my wallet and my underwear out on the counter, and I was like, just gonna grab that real quick.
I'm sure they weren't judging you.
And thank you for the coffee, and here is a extra large tip.
And I am never coming here again.
And it was like a 16-year-old dude that was he's just staring at me, and I was like,
lady panties.
have a good night. And he was just, sounds like you already did. Okay.
That makes it so much better.
In my oversized black t-shirt.
Like you couldn't tell. At least you didn't mention it until.
And I'm sure my makeup was smudged and my hair was a mess. Well, I probably did a messy bun because my hair was.
Been in the position where they've fallen asleep, and I was like, I'm not gonna sleep, and I'm staying here. So I'm like,
that's
gotten my shit and left.
That was my game back. Is I'm gonna go.
Ooh, that's my game now.
Yeah.
Is that I'm like, oh, I meet you at a bar. I go home with you. We sleep together. That's it. That is the end of our connection. Thank you very much. If it was good, maybe I'll give you my number. But probably not. I'm gonna move on with my life, and you should too. I do have a number from a girl in San Francisco that I think we made out at the bar, and I think she definitely wanted more. And I was like, nah, but you can have my.
I'm good.
Never talked to her again. The height of my boy career. I say currently was kind of a fuckboy.
Well, I mean, you also got to deal with, the crazy hot ratio.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
It's definitely a thing. We all know it's a thing.
So that's a meme that is also kind of floated around, but I think it's also has a decent amount of logic to it. So theoretically you have a girl or a man, and they are a level from 0 to 10 of hot. And the y-axis is 4 because you will be. And so depending on how hot they are and how crazy they are, they either go together, they rule out their wife material, whatever. And so that a lot recently that
due to circumstances.
Yeah, that if you're super crazy, your hot ratio
so much less hot
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or it depletes your thing.
There's the median.
Yeah. right at
you
the
could
median.
be this amount hot. That means you should only be this amount crazy. If you're this amount crazy,
you can be this amount hot.
you need to be this amount hot.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's
hotter
like
than crazy. Please.
that's the goal. If you're less crazy, that's just beautiful. We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we love
If you're
it.
super hot and you're not crazy,
We
then
stand a sane person.
we stand the same person, especially who's attractive. There's a lot of attractive people who are definitely sane.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've met in the more recent past, within the past 6 months, I a like someone who I thought was super super hot, and then
And you thought they were like not.
I didn't think she was crazy, but then the more I got to know her, it got crazier and crazier and crazier, and so then she was less hot, and she still is like a hot woman.
Oh, the hotness has been outweighed by the crazy.
Yeah, so it's like
point.
it's taken out. You're like, I'm like, oh, you're a 13 on crazy, and you're still just on hot, and that like doesn't rule well for you. Yeah, so we got the hot, crazy.
Oh my God! Someone did
ratio in
Amber
our-
Heard.
Amber Heard. I cannot refer to previous podcasts.
Oh my God!
Is in the danger zone, but yeah, so I guess theoretically she's in the danger zone.
She is the danger zone.
And yeah, so we just put her face
Right?
and
Jesus.
it is. It's like because it's like attractive when you're fucking psych
Seriously.
and controlling and just like manipulative.
Like just a little bit crazy. That's fine.
That's normal. Everyone's a little crazy.
Yeah.
If you say you're not, you're the craziest of them all.
it
It is generally the people who are like, I'm not crazy, and other people are that are the craziest.
I
As I'm
feel-
sitting here like, I'm not crazy, and she is.
Well, it's the same with if you meet someone and right out of the gate they say, "I don't," and you're like, "You live for it."
I think she might have said that. People who sub. Or like, I don't do this, that, or the other thing. And you're like, wait, but that's all you do. Hold on. Or they're like, I'm not crazy, but also like, look at these text messages between me and the last girl I dated.
My
And it's
God.
fucking psycho, and she's going off on her, and you're kind of like, the little red flag is peeping up on the horizon.
Oh, I
You're
wouldn't
like,
say that's a little one. There's like a person behind
It was
her
pretty
as she's
big.
talking, like waving it in the color guard.
hello.
Flipping it up in the sky and catching it and
But
being
at
like,
that
it's here.
But at that point, you still think she's hot too, like looking at her, but you're kind of to the side. You're like, but yeah. And you're like, kind of, your attention's being drawn by like something, but you're like, what though? And
Well,
that's
then
where my straight guy brain comes in. I think,
when you're
honestly.
attracted to someone, your brain also,
It's like
it does the sex haze.
the rose colored glass
Yes.
of like, those red flags are pink.
Oh, they're beautiful. I love that color.
Ooh. And then, I don't know, when you're vibing someone, and those red flags
Mhm.
are not as important, but they're still there, and you know, I think that's why I think of like the little guy, like, it's a red flag, because I saw it through
Oh,
the
he was there, but
emotion.
you couldn't hear what he was saying.
No, I just knew. I knew there was something in the back of my brain that was like, you've seen this and you know it's not good. She's insane. You know she's a fucking crazy bitch.
be true.
I did. I knew at the beginning. And then it only got worse. And then they get better for like friends, but then they get mad at you. Like you tweet something. And they're like, what the hell? Or their friends text you about your TikTok.
Honestly, there's so many.
This is stop being as fake.
There's so many. This is very pointed now. There are so many couples out there who are very active on social media who choose to follow each other for that specific reason, because they're like, I shouldn't be watching what you're doing 24/7.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But it like also, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for me because all Nate does is retweet anything. It's great. He retweets, he reposts on Instagram. It's great. And it's easy, it's simple. I know what's happening.
Yeah.
You're going to want to get the aerated because it's a Petit Verdot.
Yeah, that should probably be. But the thing that bothers me when it's like, okay, and we talked this earlier today off podcast, that
Why?
when it's like, oh, this bothers me, or this thing that you do bothers me, but after the disagreement, it's like, oh, I don't actually mind if you do that. I was just using that for an argument.
That's fucking toxic.
It's very annoying.
It's manipulative.
Yeah,
it's
and
not
I don't know.
Cool.
I'm not a person who checks up on social media. I'm not really on social media because I actually broke myself of the habit because I realized that for me it's a really unhealthy addiction. And so that's also something at some point we'll get into, I think, is that cycle. Thank you. And so for me it's a very vicious cycle. I had weaned myself off so I don't check people's social media, and so for me it's like not something that I do at all.
Yeah.
And when it's brought up and used in arguments, well, problem one is that you're wrong.
And it seems like this person is deliberately going on social media, parsing every single little tiny thing and being like, I'm going to do this, or be like, are you at it? Or
there's people who will say like I have, or who will like turn all of your notifications on too.
That's insane.
Which is kind of like, to me that's very like, it feels like being in a small space. Like it's very
claustrophobic.
Yeah, it feels very claustrophobic to me. That I don't want people to be stuff all the time. And maybe that's like a thing, but I know, because it is. If like you're on
No, that's not a weird thing. People shouldn't be obsessed with every tiny thing that you're posting on social media.
Well, and then it starts getting to be like, okay, if you like every status I post and I'm getting 14 notifications from you, it's annoying. Like I've done that where it's happened.
That's tasty.
Oh. I've done that where it's happened once or twice with people that I've known, that I've dated, that it's been like, just met and we just became friends on Facebook. I'm literally on the phone with you. I'm gonna go through your Facebook once. And that's been like a situation with that. And so shout out to Nate who's pouring our wine.
Ooh.
I feel so fancy and spoiled.
Boy.
Yeah. But so that's
having mics in front of you and someone engineering it and taking care of all of it.
Yes, thank you so much. I feel very fancy. Thank you. I was so spoiled. But
oh my god.
thank you. Having people commenting on every aspect of your life all the time can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm very introverted. I'm also a Scorpio. And for me, my space is super important, and it can be very stifling to have someone all over my life. And even when I lived with my super toxic ex, I feel like she at some point still understood that I needed space and I needed time to be alone, or that we could exist without having to talk or having to, have contact in some way.
Yeah.
And that's really important. And so it does get stressful to me.
I completely get that because I'm not a super extroverted person. I'm definitely an extroverted introvert.
Okay, yeah.
And so I need space. Like, I don't get energy from being around people, but I do enjoy being around people. But living in a studio with someone else, we've definitely, especially during the Rona, and even before that, we have who were like, I know you live here and I live here, and we can't close the door unless it's the bathroom or go out into the yard.
Yeah.
And just being like, I'm gonna go over to the bed, I'm gonna put my earphones in, and I am not here.
Yeah.
So don't look at me, talk to me.
That's valuable.
And just giving each other our space is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And not being like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and or I don't know, we talked about how it's important when you know someone is busy to and not blow them up, and it's also important to not expect that.
Yeah, we talked about that when we went to the river. What, like a week and a half ago, something like that.
Maybe 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been
And
at least a week, maybe 2.
This person you were talking about knew you were going to go do something, and would be out of cell phone service and around people, and was still, hey, what are you doing? What's happening? Why aren't you texting me back?
Yeah, and was like, hey, notice that I'm not texting you as much, and it's like, well,
You're texting me right now to tell me that you want me to notice that you're texting me.
And that's a lot.
Like, that's... No,
it's not...
No.
It's also, I feel like, healthy. I think that's something that, like, regardless of what, like, marriage, like, if you're married and you're like, hey, I'm gonna have a night with my friends, and we're gonna, first of all, it's rude to be on your phone all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's also, like, okay, like, my partner should respect that I'm spending a night with friends, having, like, an evening, or I'm getting pedicures, I'm doing whatever. And that's a respect that should be reciprocated. That, like, oh, you're busy, okay, I'll talk to you later, like, enjoy your day.
I used to, the friend that I moved to Sonoma County with, we had lady dates where she would be on her fucking phone all the time texting her boyfriend, and I would leave the house and it would be like, okay, have fun, take your time, and maybe he would text me twice, and most of the time I would text him back, sorry, can't talk, I'm playing Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And drinking wine.
Like, I'm busy.
I'll see you when you get home.
Yeah. Well,
and it would,
yeah,
it's great to have that space, and
it's healthy and important.
I'm also like, because I need my space, I'm also someone who want attention. I want it right now.
Yeah.
But I've also learned how to deal with that with someone who is not overly physically affectionate. So when I want attention, I will literally walk up to Nate and go, I want attention. And he goes, okay, what do you need right now? And I'm like, I would like a hug and a cuddle. And he, like, I'd like a kiss and a cuddle. And he's like, okay, here you go.
No.
Are you good? And be like, I'm good now.
I feel like that's really healthy, that communication, though.
Yeah, as opposed to just, like, being on someone and, like, slugging on them. Because I've been in those relationships, too, where someone is just, it feels like a slug.
That makes me, I'm like, ugh.
Exactly.
I'm reacting to that, like, get off of me.
Because you know how that feels when someone is just all over and you're like, why are you doing this?
Or then if you say, like, no, I need my space, they're like, but are you mad at me? That's another thing that's, like, now I guess a trigger for me is that, like, so in my very toxic relationship, I always felt like if I didn't reply right, it was assumed, why aren't you replying? Are you cheating on me? No, I mean, like, with the very toxic one.
Oh, are you cheating on me? That's fun. That's great.
On the super toxic one, it was, like, very, like, 0 to 60 right away. In the one that we've been mentioning, it is very much like, oh, are you mad at me? And I'm like, no, I'm busy. Or we just had this conversation that we have mentioned that I called her a bitch.
Yeah.
Before that, and what led to that was that I had mentioned a few days before that I wanted to talk about some things, but 2 days I had been really, really busy. Like, I'd woken up, I'd basically communicated in the morning, and then I went and I was with my mom and my sister all afternoon, and my mom and I got drunk, not my sister's underage. And so my mom and I got drunk, and, like, I was with my mom from, like, 1, and I probably woke up at 11:30. So from 1 to, like, 2 a.m., my mom and I were together, and I had left my phone because I was like, I don't know, when as I'm aging and as I've been out of the house, like, my mom and I spend more quality time together and have developed a relationship more.
Yeah.
And so I do spend time with her. And so I was away from my phone. And so when I got back to it, I was like, sorry, I've been with her. And then the next day it was a very similar thing, or I think that the day before we had watched movies or something and I got caught up. And the next day we had gotten, like, ices, and my mom and I had talked, and my phone had died or was at 1% when I saw it because I had brought it with me, but I hadn't used it because I was catching up with my neighbor, and my neighbor's my age and we're both queer, and she just got back from college, and we were discussing, the status called being queer in the place we both grew up in. And so we were catching up. We hadn't seen each other in probably a year. And so I spent a couple of hours talking to her. And then I went back in. My phone was almost dead. And then my friend had sent me a message that was like, hey, I'm in the hospital. Someone tried to stab me.
Holy butt.
I dealt with her. And then I put my phone to charge because it was on Snapchat and ran through my battery. And she was like, I see that you're on Snapchat and you're not messaging me. And like, I was like, my friend got stabbed. And I'm busy. And then later, and she was like, oh, I'm fake concerned because that's a thing. And if I'm not concerned, then. And then later was like, but you said you would bring this up. And now it's been like a day and you haven't brought it up. And I was like, I've been busy. I've been with my mom. I've been with my friend. And then my friend got stabbed.
You are not the center of my universe.
No. And I think in a healthy partnership, like that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have other things going on right now? Let me put our issues in the back burner. And so that ended up, and that was the same day, like, all of my Snapchat was screenshotted, and I ended up calling her, like, what the hell? And it was that I was like because I was being accused of things. And so I had called and been like, this is, like, I'm done. Like, this is where I get to talk and you get to listen because all I've done is listen to you the entirety of the talking. And then she had laughed at what I was saying and my feelings and was belittling the things. And every time I said how I felt, she'd be like, oh, interesting. Oh. And so I called her a bitch because she was being one. Because
she was being a bitch.
I said, I was like, oh,
good boy.
Good boy, Tonka. Oh, he's so cute. But
he matches the background.
He does. I had said some things and was like, hey, like, these are basically trying to be like, these are my feelings and this is how I feel and this is how the things are making me feel. And she, like, was laughing off my feelings. And I was like, all right, you're being a fucking bitch right now. And she was like, I've never called you names. And I was like, but I've listened to everything. Like,
and, well, maybe stop being so mean. Accusing me of things.
This is casually turned into a rant. But it is, I think that the most productive conversations happen when it's like, hey, I feel like this. And you're like, I feel like this. And we discuss them.
Well, also therapy.
Yeah.
I feel is so much more helpful than you did this. And you can't do an I feel that you did. No.
It's I feel like this.
It's like improv.
Your actions made me feel, or I'm reacting this way. And that's where I think the majority of my issue was like, hey, I said when I was really angry, I was like, every time that we have a discussion, it's all the things that I've done, but you've taken ownership of what you've done. Because every conversation that we have, you did this, you did this, you did this, but where is your ownership? And I think at this point, like, she still hasn't given me an apology. And I'm going to make sure the dog's not doing something.
That's fair. You're welcome. He might just have to go potty.
I think he might need to go outside.
Aw.
My poor dog has been...
Well, he's been such a good boy.
You can go outside, Tonka. Tonka, go outside. It's okay. He said, I back, Mom, I back.
I don't want to leave without you, Mom.
You want to go outside? Come here. Down.
Everyone can see him because
he's a big...
Oh, he's making... Oh, he's doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mastiff. Tonka's actually my service dog. He's obviously off duty right now, and he's very well trained, so he knows when he's on and when he's off.
I feel like our announcement for episode 2, which will have been the one before this one, so you would have already seen this. I think we should memify Tonka into saying, watch my mom's new episode.
We should. He's got such a cute face,
he
too.
Does.
I love him.
And he has a cute little bow tie right now that I think...
He does. It's a pride bow tie.
Yeah. I think that he should be memeified into being like, watch a new episode of Two Girls, One Gay.
He should. He's such a good he's looking at you like, what I do.
Oh,
So no one can see Tonka because he's
Yeah.
not even possible to be in frame right now, but
Nope.
he's got droopy eyes and he's looking up at Nate like, what did I do wrong?
His claw was kept in the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
he's a big
He's still learning how to be an engineer.
he's in training. He's my best friend though, and he makes my life better. Huh.
Oh, there he goes. Everyone, welcome Tonka podcast.
Hi, Tonka. He's very happy. He's like very much. And she's had he's had a rough kind of month actually, a month and a half maybe.
Yeah.
And he's getting over that. Tonka, would you like to say anything?
Oh, good sniffs. Good sniffs. Good boy.
Can I have a high five? Oh, thank you.
Oh,
very
the
much.
tricks.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, so he gives high fives. Yeah, he's just the sweetest boy. And yeah, I'm super excited because he's been so off that he's that's something with quarantine right now is service dogs that we've kind of discussed a little bit, but that so Tonka's been off duty for since March now.
Yeah.
And
He's a lost boy.
and so that's something that when we go back and things start opening, we're going to have to start retraining because he's very much used to being a dog and doing what he's supposed to, doing whatever. But Tonka actually, hi Tonka. Tonka's been very off recently because there was there was a situation and that very much when dogs are very used to what they're trained to do and their expectations. Things go out of that, it throws them off. So Tonka's been very not confident in himself, and he was having accidents, and he was extremely skittish, and
he's a very sensitive boy.
yeah, he's a big dope. And he's not acting like himself at all, and it's really exciting because he's starting to get
normal.
yeah, he's getting back to. It's hard because it does take a lot of training, and part of that is it's difficult to do in quarantine.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
It's less exposure to things, and it's trying to work on things.
You can't have people around him, and he's used to having people to ignore.
Yeah. So he's like
as a job.
That's a good point. So that transition, I think it'll be a very hard transition for people who use service dogs, especially because I think a good majority of people who rely on service dogs are immunocompromised.
Yes.
And
definitely.
so, and technically I am as well. And so,
I mean, we all are in this room.
we are.
Which is great. So anyone who's going to come for us for not social distancing, we have been social distancing, which is why we feel comfortable doing this all together because we've been safe and extra careful.
Yeah, and we also have been exposed to each other. And we've
Since the
been
beginning.
podcasting since before the quarantine and have been exposed to each other. But that's something that I think be an issue with handling service dogs is that we train our dogs in a very specific way. And it is a thing that they're supposed to exist with us and day to day and go with us everywhere. And I think your average human does leave the house every day. And they're supposed to come with us and be prepared for that. But because we've been home for so long, that makes things very difficult. And getting back into the world is going to be a readjustment for us. And not even just for service dogs, it's going to be for every pet that wasn't used to having parents home and they're
Actually noticed this past Friday I went back to work, easing back into it since I am a nanny, and so my bosses are easing back into work and because they're dentists. And so when I came home on Friday, Nate was gone. He was off on a run, and I opened the door and my cat never greet me. And as soon as I opened the door, because I was gone for like 9.5 hours.
That's a long time, especially after being home all
I was at work for 9.5 hours, so I was gone for 9 hours.
driving.
Yep, and it's not very far. 15-minute drive, but yeah, 10 hours. And both of them, as soon as I opened the door and they realized it was me, they came out from my bed, ran up to me, started purring, rubbing on me, and I was like, oh shit, they're used to me being home generally all the time. Like, I'll go for a hour to 2 hour bike ride. That's generally as long as I'm gone these days. Yeah. Like, I'll go to the grocery store and that's maybe an hour, but now it's more like 45 because I tend to rush through the grocery store.
I do too. It's kind of scary. People are scary.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
No, me.
Hence the reason I started getting produce boxes.
We'll talk about that at some point.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna hit you up for
God.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm annoyed this time around for getting it because they fucked up my order.
We talked about that. Yeah, that's
However,
difficult.
the produce box that I started getting is Imperfect Produce.
Mm.
They have a lot of food waste. It's amazing. Hi. And they messed up. They messed up my order. I didn't get some of the produce I wanted. I didn't get a lot of the proteins that I wanted. But for people who get social anxiety on the phone, you live chat with them.
Oh, that's really helpful.
And you can also email them and they'll get back to you within 12 hours. But the live chat, I waited 5 minutes.
Oh, that's really nice.
And the queue was like 14 people ahead of me. So they have a lot of people working on customer service. And I told them the issue. They asked how many boxes I received. I told them. And then they asked what items I was missing. And they said, great. That you're missing, and you're not going to get charged for the mix-up of the proteins that you didn't want. And so
that's nice.
My grocery bill ended up being like $2 less than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So at this point, now all I have to do is go out grocery shopping for like booze and
But customer service actually reminded me of something to touch on because it is. I think customer service is so valuable these days. And
and also be nice to your customer service people.
Yeah. Well, I was on hold. So I was on hold. I was scheduling my washer dryer pickup.
Yes.
And I was on hold for I think 20 to 25 minutes. And I was like, whatever, because and then I was on hold with the bank. I bank with USAA. And I was on hold with them for 3 minutes.
It's nothing.
And then they transferred me, and I was on hold for another, 2 minutes. So in total, 5. Maybe it might have been, 7 to 10.
Yeah.
And so the customer service representative was like, oh, I'm sorry you've been on hold so long. And I was like, it's what? And she's like, well, we did have people who would be, on an hour. And I was like, well, you guys was... At the beginning of the situation, I called for a different reason. I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't the scam thing. I've been scammed, something that we will address at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But I was on hold and they have a callback option. Oh, we'll call you when your place is up. And so I did that.
I never trust that.
It was okay. I missed the call because my phone's old and it'll only show the last ring and then go.
Oh.
So I had to do that a couple times, and then I was at work. My poor boss. It was something super essential. It had to do with my car payment.
Oh shit.
And so my car insurance, and so I had to tell my boss I need you to cover right now. I'm so sorry, but it's my car. I can't. But it was something like that, and even then I was like, okay. But she had said, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, well, I was just on hold for at least 20 minutes at this other place, so I don't mind. And it was the best customer service. USAA, I'm gonna go ahead and give them a quick a shout out because their customer service has always been amazing, but especially this last time. I think her name was Christine, and she was the best person, and she made me feel comfortable and very much less it because I had forgotten my online passcode and confused it with my PIN. Oh. So I gave her my PIN number, passcode, and then she had asked if I wanted to change it. And I was like, "Can I ask you what it is?" And it was what I thought it was. And she was like, she told me this story about she was going to pick up Amazon packages, opened her garage partway, and then picked them up and ran into her garage. And I was like, thank you so much for making me feel like a human. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that especially in the time, sometimes people's only social interaction is going to be through calling customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And so valuable customer service and good customer service is so important.
And customer service is being full. Especially if anything is happening online or you're getting things delivered or really anything that isn't happening in person. All of those people, they're dealing with a lot more than they're used to. And they're also dealing with like a lot of aggressive people, unfortunately. And so if you have to wait an extra X amount of time,
Chill.
yeah, like, I don't know, put a movie on and put your phone on speaker and so you can
That's
hear
what I do.
when they come up. You'll be fine. It's not the end of the world. You literally have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think the reality of the situation is that we're all in a bad position. No one, even people who are working, are really at risk. And so we're all, like, as a society, we're all in a bad position. So let's all treat each other well, like humans. Like, we're all people, and we're literally all through this shit together.
It's uncharted waters.
Yeah, no one knows what's gonna happen. No one knows what the future is gonna hold.
Fucking nuts.
We can make predictions, and we also know that it's probably gonna be pretty bad, but why shouldn't we help each other out? Because we do know it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Or be nice to one another, because I was filling up my gas tank today, literally. A woman was glaring at me, and I was like, what do you want? Like,
Oh my god.
like, that's the sort of thing, like, it's okay. And I smiled at her a couple times, and it's just, like, okay to be with your life. And you can be unhappy, but...
So,
everyone is.
I was on the Nextdoor app today, which, if a lot of people don't know, the Nextdoor app, it connects you with your neighbors and, like, surrounding people. And I don't go on it that often around here because there's just, like, a lot of negative and people complaining. And so I get alerts for it, and I get emails for, like, oh, the top story today. And the top story today really freaking warmed my heart.
It is being pulled up.
It's being pulled up right now. Nate can't pull it up because Nextdoor app.
Nextdoor.
Yeah, there's not, because the Nextdoor app is.
It's closed to your community.
It's closed.
Francis, don't knock the camera over. But the
so it was by he lives at Burbank Gardens, so literally the neighborhood right across the street from us. I cannot.
It's
protected. It is
closed.
It's
insane.
Actually, I can airdrop a screenshot.
Yeah, so that also important to note is that the Nextdoor app is, I've been invited for the neighborhood that I currently live in, but not the neighborhood that I'm moving into. We have a Facebook group and that I'm a part of in my parents' house. And so the Nextdoor app, you have to enter a code. You have to be invited by someone who lives in the community, or you have to request it and verify.
You have to verify with a postcard at your address. Yeah,
and then also I think you might have to be confirmed by a neighbor. It's actually really intense, and it's
have to be confirmed by a neighbor, but they had to send it to our mailbox.
Okay.
Because I requested an invite with my name, and then they sent me the postcard with, like, a confirmation.
Yeah, maybe because I live in an apartment complex.
Maybe.
Yeah, that so I think that but it is very secure, and it's very nice to have just your community.
Right, and no one else peeping in.
I'm shocked because I'm watching Francis the cat scroll across and one paw on the speaker.
So, it's by a neighbor named Zan Melville. He says, a few days ago, I was in the Sebastopol Safeway, and I let two people carts in front because there was a line. A few people asked me what was going on in a rude way. and started having a big deal about it. I honestly put with the carts went ahead. Guess what I did? I paid all of their groceries. So many people are having so many problems with money. We all are, especially in a pandemic, but it never hurts to be nice. Then again, this evening I was at Lucky's in Sebastopol and I paid for a gentleman's groceries. He also had a cart full, but there was absolutely nobody behind us. All I'm saying is that it never hurts to help out a family in need, especially in a pandemic. Help one another instead of getting grouchy with someone who is doing nice things for one another. The ones who are angry about posts, keep it to yourselves. Nobody wants your feedback.
That's really
I love
true.
the sass.
That's so sweet, though. I can imagine him sassing people as they're getting in front of him.
Yeah.
With his, like, probably little basket.
Right? He's like, I'm just stopping in to get a couple of things. He let 2 people with full carts ahead of him. And he's like,
excuse me, can I pay for them?
I got you.
Go ahead.
Yep.
It'd be nice if anyone would like to pay for my groceries.
Right.
That's so, I think that is really heartwarming, though. And those are the things that
That made me happy.
in the status of the nation, it
Mhm.
is very important to remember that good things happen and good people
Yeah.
exist.
Normally on Nextdoor, I generally only hear people complaining about the homeless situation in our town, or like, please don't let your dog shit in my yard. And I'm like, who are you talking to? This is a
that's-
very pointed post.
That's my parents' suburbs Facebook group. Not to at y'all, but every time I see a they won't listen to this, I'm gay. But every time I see a post, it's every other post is, hello, I love our neighborhood so much and it's beautiful. Not beautiful? Dog shit. Please pick up after your dogs. And then there was actually a thread on one of these posts of the signs that people are going to post in their yard about don't let your dog, which I do think, like, as a dog owner, I do think that you should pick up after your dog. And that's
Obviously.
being a responsible dog owner, and you signed up for that
But
shit. No pun intended.
dogs
Yeah.
shit.
A lot.
As a dog owner, pick it up.
Yeah.
It's gonna shit in someone's yard. Just pick it up. Sorry it shit in your yard. You have grass.
Yeah, honestly.
If you don't want a dog to shit in your yard, maybe have a beautiful garden.
And then we'll feel bad and we'll pick it up. Just kidding. I always pick up my dog shit. Like, I don't walk my dog, which is like, it sounds really bad, but he's a service dog and he's a mastiff.
He's so lazy.
Their recommended exercise is like one, like, down the street walk a day. And so he's like looking at me like, more exercise.
Mom, you're talking shit about me on the podcast.
But it is like, so as a service dog, when I take him everywhere with me, that's more exercise than he needs.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't walk my dog. But it is annoying to people just like, ooh, my dog crapped. And I understand, like, the one, if you don't have a dog bag, but if you're taking your dog for a walk, you should have one.
100%.
And if your dog should, then run.
And
but
if you have problems with plastic bags, they do have, like, eco-friendly ones.
They do. That's what I use, actually.
Yeah.
You can order them from Chewy.com. This is a plug. They are the best. I've gotten, like, birthday cards for all my animals from them, and then, like,
oh, he bonked.
oh, hello, buddy.
You could hear that through the mic.
That's so bad.
Hi, buddy.
He's got his, like, sad eyes.
He does.
So because I have a Mastiff and he has a slightly droopy face, he looks very sad all the time.
Well, he also has these, like, concerned eyebrows.
He does. I don't know if all Mastiffs have them, but he definitely does. He's beautiful.
He's the best. He's a big boy.
But yeah, everyone take a drink.
But yeah. Oh, he's
Talk about Red Nose Day. It's such a fun.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm gonna sound so nasally.
we apologize for nasals. Oh my god.
It's being released on Red Nose Day, so.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
being released. This is being released, I think,
No,
right
it's
after.
not.
Is this podcast 3? This is 3,
This
right?
is 3, so this is gonna.
So this is our post Red Nose Day
No, this is getting
episode.
posted on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
We're not
every
doing
Tuesday.
it on Red Nose Day.
That's
I have a septum piercing in my nose. This is pinching my nose and my septum.
Oh, how hurt.
Too much.
Is that better?
All right, that's a lot better.
Oh, okay.
I sound less nasal. Oh, there we go. All right, so Red Nose Day. This is the post Red Nose Day podcast. It is very important to support children in poverty. I can't sound serious with this nose on my face. It's so important to support children and the future of all of us. First of all, because like we're all gonna be old,
Okay.
and we're all gonna need someone to take. I'm lasting longer.
No, yeah, you did.
But we're all gonna need someone to take care of. Did you go outside, buddy? We're gonna like all need someone to take care of us someday, and
that's not what children are for.
that's not what children are for theoretically. But the children in poverty, like a lot of them did choose to be in that situation. I think that's very important, and it's important to support the future and youth, and also. So as has been a theme with our past 2 episodes, it's important to support people who are, I wonder if I put it in the bridge of my nose. It's important to support people in this community, and it's important to focus on other people.
It's awesome. Go as long as you can.
It's important to support others, and especially in this time, I think that we're all focused on, as a society, we're all having trouble. We're all having a lot of trouble in this time of corona, and something that is important to remember is that these people in need didn't just go away or didn't need things.
They're
especially children, like they legally cannot work. So please support them.
Yeah, definitely donate if you can. Look up to see if there are any local charities you can give to, because more than likely they're going to be able to get help to your local families in need faster than the giant international companies. That's not saying that you shouldn't also donate to the giant international companies. They are doing great things as well.
I think too an important download your digital nose and spread awareness.
Didgeridoo.
But the most important thing, if you're not in the position to be able to donate, the most important thing that you can do is educate and then share information. Because the odds are that even if you can't donate, or even your friends can't donate, if you share that information, maybe it'll reach someone that can, or the message gets spread. Generally, awareness is always the thing that people strive for, because awareness is part of not the issue, but it's a part of getting help to community who need it.
Definitely, because people aren't even.
Look who's offering an experience, Hugh Grant.
A lot of people.
Oh, I was into Christian Siriano. I used to watch a lot of Project Runway.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't even aware of the fact that a lot of children in the United States, they rely on meals from school to get them through the day. And now that school is out, I know a lot of local communities are banding together and doing dry meals for kids, but that's definitely a thing to look into as well.
And even if you can donate like canned goods that maybe you're the nose. I feel like it makes people take me less seriously.
You definitely sound like you have a cold.
I do not have the Rona. But people who, if you could donate non-perishables to charity. So locally in Sonoma County, the Redwood Food Bank is a really good place. There's a couple of places in Roder Park, and your city should have an organization set up. Or even your local elementary, middle, or high school, they will probably have a donation or a frequently asked questions for how you could help. Charities will have a frequently asked questions for how you could, especially in Corona, because the sensitivity surrounding donations is higher at this time. But so see how you can help.
Go into the back of your pantry, get that old can of chili, get the
no one's gonna eat it at this point, honestly.
Get the bag.
That's good. We'll isolate that and release it as a
No one's gonna eat it.
No, everything when you were just wearing the nose.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Get the old can of chili. Get the bag of stuffing cubes that you didn't use, or the
bouillon cubes.
Right, the box of Stouffer's that you didn't use for Thanksgiving.
Brown rice because you like the white rice, the high protein rice. Yeah,
Go
anything.
through your pantry and get the
okay.
things that you stocked up on when we thought we wouldn't be able to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Get the things that you bought that you stocked up on 2 months ago. Get the can of fruit cocktail out.
That you still haven't used.
And head to the local food bank or look up wherever you can give food donations and drop that off.
A thing that's important is everyone always says, like, your situation could be worse. So there are people whose situations are worse.
3-hour programming block features very special episode.
Yeah. So this year, the 3-hour programming block features a special episode of Celebrity Escape Room, followed by the 6th annual Red Nose Days special. There will be laughs, there will be celebs, and there will be money raised for children who need our help most. So unlock your digital red nose and grab your favorite snacks. Get ready to tune in on May 21st for the greatest night of television this season. And here's what you can expect, and then it lists it all out on Red Nose Day.
Everyone can look this up at, what is it, rednoseday.com or org? rednoseday.org.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's I've followed it for a really long time because I believe it started out more as a YouTube thing where YouTube plus celebrities had participated in
and then
Red Nose Day.
NBC picked it up.
Yeah, and it was originally, I think, 24 hours of comedy, and they had various comedians that came and would perform, and it was YouTube comedy, and it was also through YouTube, and it's gotten a lot bigger. Oh, Jim Gaffigan, Tony Hale, Ray Romano, and more.
Wow.
Coldplay's Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
musical.
that was a few years. That was a few years back.
And Lily Singh, on topic, the fact that they didn't mention her, she's huge. She's a woman.
Speaking of YouTube,
Lily Singh.
Oh my God, she started on YouTube and transitioned to late night.
Yeah, and she's amazing, and she's funny.
One of the YouTube
OG.
She was OG YouTube. Was on there
so
for.
Good. It was like I Superwoman
years.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lily, I also I think it's very demeaning to her that they didn't list her with the big names. Mario Lopez, you're going out. But you're going. And yeah, but Lily's popping. She's happening, and she's now.
I mean, she's got a late night show, which is fantastic. First woman of color.
Yeah,
and
queer. Isn't she? I think she's bisexual.
I think she's bisexual.
Yeah. So it's there's a lot of avenues of representation. Support is changing lives. That's, I think, always the most important thing, and the key thing when you're looking into organizations to support. They should be able to give you very solid proof they are assisting an organization. So Red Nose Day has been one of those things. And I think part of the reason that Red Nose Day is so monumental was because Red Nose Day didn't originally exist as a for-profit. And it's the same way as Live Aid. Live Aid had, back in the day, raised a lot of money.
Oh, shit. And, oh, wow. Look at
Oh, Kristen Bell, Jane Lynch, Nick Jonas, Kenan Thompson, Sean Hayes, John Legend,
and Retta. Play games and raise money for Red Nose Day. That's going to be fun. Oh, that was on May 12th. That already happened.
5 days
Oh,
ago.
wow. That's crazy.
Honey, it's the 18th.
Yeah, because it's important. And
it is.
Yeah, we've
it's very
it
important.
A few times. And Red Nose Day, but I think the main thing that coming on, and especially podcasting, developing in the time of Corona, is that the most important thing to remember is that we all need to lean on each other and help each other and be there as support.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And that's a part. I'm like, yes, agree with my opinion.
Yes.
And support charities that are really just looking to do the best in the world.
Yeah, where you can. Definitely research where you're giving to see if you support all the things that they're doing.
Research, share, educate.
Yes, make sure that they're a real fundraiser.
I know.
And share so that you're not, like, giving your money away and whoops.
I know that as a college student, something that's I've always wanted to, like, felt like this need to, like, help people, and I think a lot of what's presented is monetary help. And so that's something that's always hurt as a college student and as someone who, like, was supported by my parents, but for everything outside of it, so food, utilities, and activities were paycheck to paycheck for me. And it always kind of hurt that I couldn't monetarily support really great communities and charities and locally and nationally that I would want to. And it felt like I wasn't doing anything because I donate money. And I think at this time too, a lot of people aren't in the position to donate. And
Definitely.
so the most important thing that you can do is spread the word.
Yes.
Because
donate your time.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a huge
effort.
thing you can do. Donate your time, donate your effort, donate your voice.
Yeah, that's important because you never know who you can reach. Maybe it'll resonate with them. Maybe you'll reach someone who's like, wow, I am in a position that I can assist these people, or I can do this thing or the other.
Yeah. Like, oh, that, $400 that I was going to spend on a Nintendo Switch, but they're sold out.
I can donate it to these people who will have a goals.
Yeah. Or it'll go towards this person's rent.
Yeah. And if you're not in that position to monetarily give, like, don't feel helpless.
Retweet. Anytime you see, like, the retweet, the repost, it makes a difference because more people will see it and maybe they'll be able to help.
Right. Exactly. And compassion's the most important thing, and it's one of those things that makes us human.
Yeah. I mean, $5 will get you a meal at Taco Bell.
And a very good one, if I do say so myself. I love Taco Bell. Yeah, I feel like this is a good place to call it.
This is a great place to call it.
Yeah, like admiring people who are giving and giving back.
I feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
I know, me too. Cheers to you and your effort and, I don't know, like, your acknowledgement, your education, your sharing. And if you want to reach us on the socials,
you can find us on Instagram at 2girls1gaypod. You can also find us on Twitter at 2girls1_gay. And you can always email us any of your questions, comments,
concerns, advice.
Yeah, anything but dick pics.
We do not accept dick pics at this podcast. I am a lesbian. Jordan is married. No.
We just don't want to see it. At
I'll critique your dick pic, though.
2girls1gaypod at gmail.com. Yeah, thank you so much.
And I think we should always end with a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.